Welcome back. So now we're taking on step two on how to create a budget with the tMoney budget app. And we've just completed the step where we created all of our vaults. Now we're going to move on to the section where we're adding all of our credit cards and any corresponding debts that go along with these credit cards. Okay. Now, just like when we did the vaults first before we add all of our expenses, you want to make sure that you add all of your credit cards in here as well before you start adding your expenses. Trust me, you want to make the process of adding your expenses as smooth as possible. And every time you add an expense, you're going to have the ability to attach this expense to the vault, to the credit card, to the toggles, etc., 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 for further calculations throughout the app. So by having all of these already laid out before you start putting in your expenses, it's just going to make the process way smoother for you. I promise. Okay. All right. So when you add a credit card, you can add a credit card one of two ways. Okay. Either way, you're going to hit on this add credit card button. And the first way is you could just enter all of your details in here manually. Okay. So first thing, go ahead and put in the name of the credit card. Next, you're going to put in your credit limit for this particular credit card, the annual fee. Now, this annual fee is important because it's going to get calculated into your monthly budget, which we'll show you in a little bit. You're going to put your renewal date in here, so the date that the annual fee is due every year, because you're going to get notifications that this bill is coming up. Okay. If you're carrying a balance, you're going to enter the balance in here with all of the debt details, such as the interest rate and the monthly payment. This is going to trickle over into the debt tab that we'll talk about later when you're evaluating whether to use the debt avalanche or the debt snowball method to tackle all of your debt, as well as you're developing your money plan, figuring out which order you want to tackle your debts and your savings goals in. So all of this is going to be working together. So then next you're going to add in the reward structure for this particular credit card. So some credit cards, they may earn points, miles, or cash back. We're going to go ahead and add all of this in because again, as you're adding your different expenses into your budget, you're going to be able to assign a credit card to each of these expenses, right? And now this is going to help evaluate how much you're actually getting from each particular credit card, right? Because sometimes people don't do the math and they think they're getting more than they really are. So one of the things that the tMoney budget app does is it's going to do these calculations for you so you can start making some more informed decisions on things like credit cards as well as other things in your financial life. All right, so next we're going to add the value per point, right? So different credit cards points are worth different values, okay? So just recommend going online, doing a quick search of how much each particular credit card's points are generally worth or can generally be redeemed for. And then we're going to add that in here in the redemption value per point. So be careful when you add in your point values, okay? Because our minds are used to seeing two decimal places after the decimal point, right? But some credit card points are worth less than a penny, right? So for example, with this Hilton Honors card, generally speaking, the points are worth about half a cent, right? So if you're not thinking, you may put 0.05 instead of 0.005, right? So that'd mean that you put each Hilton Honors point worth 5 cents as opposed to half a cent, okay? So just be on the lookout for that when you're putting them in. Some American Express points are worth about 1.3 cents per point, right? So then you'll put 0.013, right? Or whatever the value ends up being, okay? So just be on the lookout for that, okay? Because we want these calculations to be accurate. All right, so next up, you're going to start putting in your categories and the point multipliers per dollar in here, right? So I usually just go straight to the credit card's website and get the point valuations per dollar, and you're just going to add them on in here. And just for simplicity's sake, for this credit card, they have 6 points per dollar on groceries and dining. I just lump that all into one category as food, right? But sometimes, depending on your strategy, you may want to make that distinction between dining and groceries, right? Because maybe you may be using a different credit card for groceries than you are for dining, right? So, whatever works for you, right? Whatever floats your boat, just go ahead and add it on here as you need to. All right, boom. So now that that's done, we indicated that this credit card is carrying a balance. So after you save this credit card, you're going to get the ability to add this monthly payment into your monthly budget. Okay, so go ahead and select the statement date because this is going to send you a reminder of when the statement is going to generate. So you can go ahead and update the balance and your monthly payment. And you can also put in your monthly due date as well, right? Because this is going to appear in the bills reminder section to make sure that you always can keep a glance at upcoming bills. And just like with every other expense that you add into your budget, you can select the vault that you want to be saving the monthly payments in to make sure it's protected. You can apply a toggle to it, which we're going to discuss later. And you can also indicate if you want to save this in your emergency fund, right? But I'm not going to do that for this example right now, but just know that you have that ability as well. All right, cool. We got the credit card saved in here. It was a bit of work, right? But the beauty about it is that you only have to do this one time, okay? Because once you save it, it's really a set it and forget it kind of solution. But let's go ahead and take a look at the credit card, what kind of information it got. You see that it's bringing in the reward structure that we established, it's bringing in your profitability. And as we start to sign in different expenses to be used on this credit card, we're going to start getting some very valuable calculations in this section here. And as you add more and more credit cards, you see up here, you're going to get a bit more of a breakdown, okay? So you see how much you're paying in total annual fees every month. And the beauty is that you can break this annual fee up. So right now, we only have one credit card annual fee, which was 150 bucks. And it's going to divide that into 12 months. So that's only $12.50 a month for this one credit card fee, okay? But the beauty though, after we add all these details, we're going to add it into our budget. This credit card annual fee expense it's going to show up in our budget as you see, and you're going to notice this little green syncing icon. That means that this is a sync item expense, right? So what that means is that as you make changes elsewhere in the app that controls this 1250 amount, it's going to automatically be updated so you don't have to manually keep track of these things. And as you add and delete different credit cards, it's going to automatically adjust inside your budget so you're not oversaving and you're not undersaving. So that was one way to add a credit card, where you have to manually type in all of the relevant details. However, there's an easier way, okay, and this is called credit card codes. Now, I'm going to have a collection of credit card codes, of the most common credit card codes, in the official Facebook group, so make sure you join the Facebook group. But the way you use credit card import codes is you go ahead and you're going to copy the code and you're going to tap on import and you're going to paste the code in here, and it's going to import all of the relevant data that we just entered in for this particular credit card. Okay, now it's not going to have the personal stuff that's pertaining to this credit card, such as if it's carrying a balance or your credit limit, things like that, but it is going to have the common things, such as obviously the name, the annual fee, the different reward structures, etc., etc. And that's going to significantly speed up how fast you're going to be importing your credit cards. Okay, now what I'm going to recommend people to do is, as you're creating these credit card codes, share them with the people in the Facebook group, man. Go ahead and post the code in there after you got it. And that way we can have a nice collection of all of these codes so that then people could just quickly search and import the most popular credit cards that they have, and they could carry on with getting to the real details of their budget, right? If we can make this as efficient as possible for everybody, go ahead and share your credit card codes in here so that then people could just import them real quick. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and finish entering the rest of the details of this particular card. And the next thing that I want to show you real quick is that now you see the monthly amount. Now we have two annual fees. The monthly amount is now $16.58, right? So you see our import worked good. We got all of our categories in here. No expenses assigned here. We're down 49 bucks because we don't have any spend going on this particular card. But now you come over here to the budget section, right? And you're going to see, bam, we got our monthly payment in there, but more importantly, our 1658 credit card annual fee expenses have updated. That was 12 bucks and some change a little earlier. Now you also see we have our bill reminder right here. So if you tap this little calendar button that's next to expenses, it's going to show you all of your upcoming bills in chronological order. This takes into account not only your monthly bills that you put in here, also your yearly bills as well. All right, so it's pretty robust. All right, so we got that taken care of. Now, just for the sake of completion, I'm gonna add one more credit card in here. It's not gonna have a balance. I'm just gonna import it real quick. And you see all of the details coming in, zero annual fee. All right, cool. So the last thing that I want to point out before I close out this video is you'll see we got the debt tab right here, and if we had entered our income in now, it would show us how long it's going to take for us to knock out these two debts that we just put in, these two credit cards, okay? But we don't have any income set up just yet. We're going to do that a little bit later. Let me also take you over to the money plan now. So you see that we have this balance in here for these two cards that we can now add to our money plan, okay? The money plan, we're going to go into more details about that a little later, but this is where you determine which order you want to tackle all of your goals. Okay, so whether you decide you want to pay off something or you want to save up for something in your vaults, whatever it is, this is your plan, your timeline, and the order that you want to do. We're going to go over that a little bit later. That's not for this video.